Hi guys, welcome back to the Mercenary Miniature Painter channel. I'm Scott, this is John.
Hello.
We are continuing with our map-based campaign in the Border Princes. So today, if you saw the campaign video, you'll see that the Dark Elf, High Elf fight's been resolved for now.
How did that go?
Not great.
Oh.
Dark Elves might be slightly on the back foot, but we've got a bit of distraction. So this turn, whilst the two elves are consolidating their positions, some of the rogue armies have clashed. So we will later on be doing Bretonians versus Empire, but tonight we are doing
Chaos against Tomb Kings. Chaos Undivided against Tomb Kings.
Yeah, so they are, if you look, you can see on our map video, but they've clashed in the marshes. I can't remember the exact name of the area.
No, Blood River, I think.
Blood River marshes or something like that. So it's just a big bog. They've run into each other. They are dangerously close to both the Dark Elf and High Elf armies. So they could, depending on this one, end up bouncing off into each other.
Well, I moved your Tomb Kings in, actually, so this could backfire quite horribly for me.
But yeah, we're gonna we'll go away. We'll show you the armies. We're just doing a straightforward pitch battle tonight, so nothing fancy. Because as we said, they are just like the secondary armies in the campaign. But this will break up, so you won't just be seeing High Elves, Dark Elves every single week for the next 3 months. So yeah, hope you enjoy.
Right, tonight for the Chaos Undivided, we have in the core section 5 Marauders with flails and a musician, a Slaanesh chariot, 6 Khorne chosen knights, full command. They're my big hitters, hopefully. 19 Marauders, full command. That's the core. In the special, we have a Beast Herd, 7 Ungors and 7 Gores. Newly painted today as well, so I imagine they'll be dead pretty quick. 5 Fleshhounds of Khorne and the 5 Furies. And then in the rare, I never leave aim without my 2 Spawn of Slaanesh. And then the characters tonight, we have Greloart, the main man. He is a level 4 Exalted Sorcerer. With him, he has a Bray Shaman. They are both on Shadows. The Bray Shaman got Steed Shadows and Creeping Death. And he got Steed Shadows, Creeping Death, Shades of Death, and Unseen Lurker. And then for the 2 big boys, we have an Exalted Champion of Slaanesh, and then an Exalted Champion of Khorne on a Juggernaut. And that is 2,000 points of Chaos Undivided.
And for the Tomb Kings in core, I have 2 identical 10-man units of archers. Got 3 chariots with full commands. And in my specials, I have 2 scorpions and a unit of 20 Tomb Guard with full command. And for my rares, I have 2 Bone Giants. So one has the normal double hand weapon setup, and the other one is using the special rules from one of the compendiums. So he's got a bow, which is effectively a strength 5 bolt thrower that you can move and fire. And then for my heroes, I've got a prince on a chariot. I've got my Hierophant, another Leech Priest, and the main man, Ramotep II, the Undying King. He is leading the army tonight. And that's it. 2,000 points on the nose. So obviously, Tomb Kings get all of their incantations. I don't have to roll for them. So that's all I've got. So we're going to come back when we're deployed, and then we'll roll off for the first turn on camera. As you can see, we are now deployed. John won the roll-off and opted to deploy second. So this is me. I have completed my deployment first, so I will get the +1. I've got sorry, I've got 1 scorpion here, but the other one is buried in the sand there. And John's got a nice spread here. His characters, he's got the Exalted in the 2nd rank, although he's putting it at the back just for ease of moving, with the Sorcerer in the front. The Bray Shaman is with the Beasts, and the scary Khorne Champion is on his own. And as for me, my Hierophant and Tomb King are with the Tomb Guard, as is befitting for them. The Prince is with his chariots, and the other priest is just lurking around back here. So let's do the old roll off and see who is going first.
Sorry.
That will be a draw. And do it again. And that would be John. What's it going to be?
You already know the answer to that, my friend.
Yeah. Come back after Chaos first turn, I think.
Turn 1 Chaos. I didn't really have a massive plan on what to do other than get forward. I know it's a bit risky with the Tomb Kings. They got a lot of movement spells, but hopefully my plan is to shut down a magic phase, and then next turn we will hopefully be golden. So pretty much everything's come forward. I've tried just basically negating that flank where the shooting is. So the Furies have come this way. This spawn moved 15 to there, and this one moved 13 to there. They are spawn of Slanesh, so they go 3d6. The fast cav just fast calved up round. The beast herd come up this way. And then these guys have landed straight on the Scorpion. Everything else is pushed forward. In the magic phase, the Beast Shaman done the magic missile, creeping death onto the chariots. Scott I rolled a measly 6, but Scott let it go because I had a few dice left. I had 8. I rolled a 6 for hits and then only done 1 wound, annoyingly. And then this guy done it again. Scott let it go because I rolled, I think, a 15. And then he done a 6 for hits again, and I done no wounds that time. So out of 12 dice, I only managed to do 1 wound on 5s, annoyingly. I was hoping to take a chariot or 2 down. And then he tried casting the fear spell onto the Marauder Horseman, and I did roll a 9, but Scott stopped it. So that is turn 1 for the Undivided. On to Scott. Let's see what he can do. Tomb Kings turn 1.
Right, Tomb Kings turn 1. I have moved up in some places, kind of held my ground in the centre. I don't want to get stuck into those corn units too soon and get dogpiled. So I do want to try and get him to come to me a little bit. Shuffled around slightly with the archers so they'd have a better bead on that spawn on the hill. Magic, as you expect, fighting this many corn units. John's got 7 dispel dice. And
There's many, there's only 2, mate. Not that many.
You got your wizards as well, though. But yeah, the defense was fairly strong. So the only successful one I got off was these guys charged, and they have caused the Bray Shaman's unit to flee, which is not terrible. Tried to fire this guy, but he stopped it, and then loads of attempts to try and get that Scorpion moving forward, but they were all stopped. Shooting phase, though, wasn't bad. They got a few hits on the spawn, but needing 6s to wound, didn't get anything. But the Bone Giant with the Great Bow did manage to take 2 wounds off of the chariot, which is not terrible. So that is the end of my first turn, and on to John's turn 2. That happy face.
This is why I like Shadows magic. Not this, and not a lore much used, but I try it, and it's finally paid off. So charges were just the chariot, because everything else was a bit blocked up. I was half tempted to charge the Marauders, and then these could have charged out, but I don't think with so many units charging. They've all been able to get in anyway, so I didn't bother with that. Rallies, these guys luckily rolled an 8. They have got a foe render and a musician, or never leave home without your foe render. The spawn compulsory moved. I angled him, so he was just clipping the back of the Scorpion, and he moved in like that. This guy tried pushing through the woods, but just rolled a measly 5, so he's a bit stuck in the woods. Obviously, try and block these guys up. So we didn't have to use my fresh flesh hounds, which are just going to get killed now. But they've come to there to obviously stop these. Getting my Beast Shaman. This unit moved up. The Juggernaut come to the top of the hill, and then the Chaos Knights move there, and then my crafty trick, the Furies, just come just over top of these to there. And then in the magic phase, I done the magic missile from the Beast Shaman onto the chariot. Scott didn't take the bait to use any of his dice, so I had 5 left, and I 5 diced with a Power Stone, so I 7 diced an Unseen Lurker onto these, trying to get the double 6, which luckily I did. Scott did have a Dispel Scroll, he said, so I did need the double 6, and they went into his Hierophant. So then in the combats, I done 1 wound to the Scorpion done 1 wound back to me, tied combat, and I'm unbreakable. Scott's a construct. So no crumbles. In this one, I done 2 wounds to the giant. He done 1 back to me. Again, tie combat. So no one happened there. And then in the big one, over here, I managed to kill. I only done 1 wound because Scott had a ward save, and I obviously outnumbered. Scott needed to do a wound back. He never, and he died. But the crumble, obviously, Tomb King's in as bad as Vampire counts, but he lost 12 skellies.
Yeah.
We did do a double crumble, so that is the ones off Scott's turn as well. But pretty successful. Turn 2 for the Chaos. Let's see what Scott can do in his turn.
So turn 2, as we said, I did the crumbles at the end of the previous one. We just double did the crumbles. So despite losing my Hierophant, not a bad turn. The Bone Giant with the Great Bow charged the Chaos Knights, which was over here, and they didn't take the bait. The Flesh Hounds, Chariots moved up over here. I used the Icon of Rakaf to turn around and charge the Furies, and then in the magic phase, I don't think I got much off, did I? I tried to charge these. John obviously stopped
that. Magic missile off, didn't you?
I've been rolling a lot of 2s, unfortunately, for my my power levels, so it's been easy for John to dispel them. I got a magic missile off with this chap here and killed one of the Marauders. But the combat phase more than made up for it. Actually, well, sorry, shooting, I did get a Flesh Hound with the Chariot's bows. But yeah, combat phase went great. So unstoppable assault here, even with 1 fewer attack, because not having the double hand weapon, he's just absolutely spanked through those knights, and they fled. Then the giant here killed the chariot, and the Tomb Scorpion did 4 wounds on the spawn and wiped that out as well. So that was quite nice. Yeah, so not bad. I have held up. I just got to hopefully survive these constant barrage of crumbles each turn now. So see what John can do in his turn.
Turn 3 for the Chaos, and apart from 1 very bad thing at the start, is pretty successful. So terror check. These boys have fled, and there's a Scorpion that could possibly come up, so we could be in a very, very, very big trouble. But obviously Scott's got to roll that first, and hopefully he might scatter off or not turn up at all with a bit of luck. But other than that, the charges, the Flesh Hounds were in the rear, and the spawners obviously can turn and go each way, so they ended up charging the chariots. The rallies, sorry, these knights have rallied back, so they're back in the game. And then obviously the Exalted is frenzied, so he had to charge the giant that was here. Magic, I only had obviously the Beast Shaman, so I had 4 dice. I tried 3 dice in the magic missile onto this giant. I did get it off, but I only rolled 1, and I didn't wound them. So that was magic. And then in the combats, so this one over here, the Flesh Hounds and the Spawn rolled a 5, so he had 6 attacks. I think did he do 2 wounds? He done 2 wounds, and then the Flesh Hounds done another 3. So the Chariots, and then in Scott striking back, he done 3 wounds, but he never had no magic weapons, and I made 3 demonic ward saves, so he never killed a thing. And then because of the rear outnumber, and I done 5 wounds, I ended up winning combat by 7. So we've crumbled all the chariots, the Prince's chariot, and the Prince has lost a wound. So that was pretty successful there. And then my Exalted over here has the Berserker sword, so he got +3 attacks because the giant is unit strength 6, and he's frenzied. So I think he had 8 attacks plus a Juggernaut, 10 attacks. I think I done 6 wounds.
I didn't save 1.
And Scott never saved 1, even though he only had 4 wounds left. But he ripped through him. Obviously, because I'm frenzied, I had to overrun. So he's just bounced in front of that thing there. Going to get Icon of Rakaf in the ass by the looks of it. But there we go. He took down a giant. So it's still pretty in the balance. Let's see what Scott can do on his turn 3.
Bottom of turn 3, not bad. Things have gone slightly better than I thought. So I lost one of the skeleton units to crumble as I expected, but these guys managed to make it into the Tomb King's bubble and lasted for an extra turn. Annoyingly, the Scorpion didn't come up to finish off the Marauders, so this one chased them and they've outpaced him. I charged the Knights again over here, and these guys charged the Exalted Champion. So in the magic phase, it went pretty well. The Tomb Prince got off the attack spell, but I don't think he even hit. So didn't do anything. But then the Tomb Guard got theirs off, and they killing blowed the champion before the combat even started. So that was a nice beginning. And then, as you can see in the combat phase, the instability has wiped out the Juggernaut. The other thing in the magic phase, though, this guy, who it looked like was doomed because there was no way he could get away from the Marauder Horseman, managed to, I think John stopped the initial attempt to cast it, but he had the Hieratic Jar, so he did the Incantation of Vengeance, killed 2 of them and made them flee. So that's bought him some time, which is nice. Then in the combat phase, as I said, they finished off their target, and the Bone Giant did a wound, took 2 back, so lost the combat, but only by 1, so he hasn't crumbled any further. And over here, the Flesh Hounds took a chunk off of the...
No, it was all a wash, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, sorry, no, it was a wash, but then I lost a wound to crumble because I'm outnumbered. So probably not going to be around for much longer with the Prince, but other than that, it was a lot better than it could have been. So not too shabby a turn. And John's turn 4 coming up.
Successful turn 4 for the Chaos until the very last roll, as always. So the charges were none.
The spawn, well, technically.
In the rallies, these guys did rally, which was pretty big for me. The Marauder Horseman never did, annoyingly, so they ran off the table. And then in the compulsories, he turned and charged into the Giant. And that was that. The Beastmen moved up there. Obviously, these boys reformed on the spot. And then in the magic phase, the Beast Shaman tried doing a magic missile onto that guy over there. Scott did stop it with a scroll. And then this guy done a 4-dice Unseen Lurker on his unit. Scott tried stopping it, but didn't roll high enough, so it did go off. I think I was half tempted to charge the Scorpion, but with the Tomb Guard there and whatnot, I didn't really fancy it too much. So all I did was shuffle him back with that. And then with his last dice, he tried giving himself Steed of Shadow so he could fly out the unit. But sadly, he didn't roll high enough, so he is stuck in there. Onto the combats. So the Spawn and the Khorne
Chosen.
They managed to do the 2 wounds to finish off the Giant without him attacking back, thank God. And then the Flesh Hounds did manage to kill the Prince in combat. And then annoyingly, I failed my leadership test. I rolled a 10, and then Scott rolled a big 5 for his wounds. So my poor Flesh Hounds, all of them died to the curse afterwards.
Yeah, if you've not played Tomb Kings before, if you kill a Prince or a King, then your unit can be cursed if it fails a leadership
test. The Prince
test.
should be a bit less than the King, really, shouldn't it?
It
should be D3.
Yeah.
But then, so pretty successful. I wish I still had my Flesh Hounds, seeing as I painted them today so nicely, Scott. Thank you very much. But other than that,
well, you killed both my Bone Giants, which are my new units as well. So it's typical new model syndrome has done both of us in.
But yeah, big turn 4 for the Tomb Kings. Let's see what Scott can do.
Right, a bit of a mixed bag of a turn. My Scorpion finally showed up. So both of them charged in up there.
Skelly's crumbled.
So yeah, the skeletons have crumbled away now. So just the Tomb Guard basically are the only ones left. The Leech Priest moved just to get out of the way of the Bray Shaman over there. And then in the magic phase, I just tried to move the King's unit forward a bunch of times, and John managed to stop it. Into the combat phase, Champion dealt a decent amount of wounds to me because he had always strikes first.
Whip of Pleasure.
With the Whip of Pleasure, but I did manage to kill him. No killing blows, but I just did 2 wounds and John failed to save, and then I killed 2 Marauders as well. Unfortunately, I lost due to all the ranks, and the one of them crumbled and one of them's only got 1 wound left, so might not be Might not be great news over there for the following turn, but we'll see what John can do with this turn 5.
So the Chaos Undivided turn, again, a fairly decent one. We wrapped up a few points, couldn't do exactly what we wanted to, but done a few things we needed to. Charges, there were none. Compulsories, this guy obviously spun and then went in the side of the Scorpion. The Knights just backed up, and then the Beastmen come to here. In the Magic phase, the Sorcerer tried doing an Unseen Lurker onto the Beastmen unit to move them 8. I did get it off. Sorry for the stopping play. Obviously, we just remembered these are obviously frenzied. I do think they might have been out. Obviously, we can't tell now because things have moved. Me and Scott diced it because it was so tight to how far they moved back to whether they'd have been in or not. So we diced it and it favoured me. So we said they ended up there anyway. So these shuffled back to there. The Beastmen, the Beast Herd come up to there. And then obviously I said this guy charged in the Magic phase. He tried Unseen Lurker. He did get it off, but he was out of range. And then I done Steed of Shadows on himself. He did roll a double 6. So Scott couldn't stop it. And I just flew up there out the way. And in the combat phase, the Spawn didn't do anything to the Scorpion, but the Marauder's actually done 2 wounds and managed to kill it. So it never got to attack back. And that was how it ended up. So that is my turn 5, on to Scott's turn 5.
Well, really quick, I just moved forward. I tried to get an extra move on me, but John stopped all my attempts to do it. But should hopefully have got far enough to frenzy bait those buggers over there and earn myself some points back. But John's last turn is what's going to decide the game. Did your final gambles pay off, John?
No, they didn't. But you've got to risk it at times, haven't you? So the charges, that was an amateur mistake, me doing that. I could have literally turned them around the other turn. I completely forgot about the frenzy, and that's going to cost me a big chunk of points. So that was silly for myself, because if I had turned them around, I think that would have just been game blouses. But because I'd done that, I had to try and do some risky moves, which was move the Beast shaman out of the unit, and then obviously the unit's gone back there. And then my Sorcerer moved 8. These guys shuffled back, and the Spawn moved over here. And then in the Magic phase, the first one I done Steed of Shadows, obviously on him, which sent him this way. And then I tried Magic Missile in from him. Scott managed to stop it. And then my last 2 dice, I tried Magic Missile in with him onto him, and I didn't roll high enough. So that's cost me a bit there, annoyingly. And then in the combats, I did manage to wound. Scott did challenge. Obviously, I had to take it with my champs. I did do a wound to the Tomb King. He killed my man. And then he done a wound to the Tomb Guard. They didn't kill him back, but I broke. I didn't auto-break because they have got the Banner of Rage, so they're always frenzied. Scott tried holding, but he rolled a 12, so they had to pursue, luckily for me, or it would have even been a bigger problem, I think. So, see what Scott can do in his last turn.
Well, as I think this is going to be a short turn, we'll just do the last Tomb King's Magic phase, because it could make a big difference. So the Tomb King is hot and angry after the old Greloart, the sorcerer. So he'll try My Will Be Done and move his unit forward. He's got the Crown of King, so he rolls 2 dice and picks the highest. Not a bad start, but stopped. Trying it again. 6 this time. Oh dear. Is that enough for a charge?
No.
Oh, not quite.
Unlucky.
And then he'll just try and smite you then instead.
Yeah.
No, that's not. Ooh, goes off. D6 hits. Oh dear. And wounding on 4s. What have you got? Got you under half at least.
Chaos Armor saves him. Just. Right, my friend.
That is all I can do. Let's tally up the points.
Good game, mate.
The last
enjoyed.
turn has saved me from a defeat, but we'll see how that's gone. What have we got, John?
We have got a very tight game again, mate, but you got 1376 and I got 1383. So good draw, sir.
Nice one.
Brilliant game. Very fun.
Yeah, nice and tight. Very difficult game. Swinging backwards and forwards a lot, I think.
Yeah, it was every turn. Come like we said, obviously about the last game where it's sort of a bit tense with the moving and everything, but the game was a bit of a wash. This one was sort of all gun ho. Let's roll dice and let's kill each other, which was pretty fun. And it sort of balanced, it sort of bounced back and forth between both of us, didn't it? Every turn, which was good.
Yeah, we both had very sort of gung ho armies. I had to use the terrain a bit to my advantage because you did outnumber me, but I sort of managed to funnel you into the giants, which was good.
Having those giants was pretty scary.
Yeah, I think would have been, although the threat of having the scorpion come up was good. Obviously, never ended up materialising. I think maybe it would have been useful just to have him out.
He let you down, didn't he? Obviously, that would have been the game winner if you'd have come up. Was it turn 3 when you terrored me off?
Only needed the 3 to get him on, and that would have been it. But that's always the thing. People overestimate the power of rallying. Just the amount of times where stuff runs, but as long as it's early,
you got a few musicians and things like that, and obviously wizards can carry on casting when they rally, so it doesn't really affect that too much.
Yeah, always take a musician if you can afford the 5 or more.
And a foe render as well.
That's true. That saved you. You'd have lost that big block otherwise early doors.
Foe render and a musician obviously saved the beast herd as well from turn 2.
I will say actually, because the bone giant I'm using, I think it's this white dwarf rules that was in one of the chronicles. They gave like a few extra options for bone giants. That bow don't really end up doing that much. It wounded the chariot, but then you still want to get them stuck in.
Yeah, because obviously with the unassailable charge and stuff like that, you want to maximise that really. Yeah. Like obviously you did have a look at like hitting on 5s all the time with the bow is still a bit like 2 out of 6.
Yeah, I think it's fairly balanced. It gives you something else to do, but
you lose the extra hand weapon as well in the combat, which is obviously quite big again with the unstoppable assault. So
yeah, because especially that last, the combat that took him down, if you'd have got 1 more wound in the second charge, that would have probably saved him, and then you'd have terrored you down, and might have gone differently.
We did make a mistake with the Corn Knight. Sorry to people, they should have lost their banner, so they wouldn't have been frenzied in the second one. But then it did balance out because they frenzied into your unit and got butchered at the end. So yeah, I think it was a mistake. But there we go. We're not all perfect.
No, and I think
who's on the table next?
So we've got the Empire and Bretonnians who are clashing up on the North Road on the map. So this one now, although it's a draw, map-wise, we're saying that if it's the rogue armies, because it doesn't matter as much, the one that had fewer points in the draw is the one that moves back. So it'll be the Tomb Kings that move back to their space. The Chaos will stay in the marshes or wherever it is they've taken over. And then, the human forces are fighting for the road. So we will have that one up on the channel for you next week.
Obviously, injury list on the rogue armies. We're only doing it on the generals. So neither of them died.
Neither of them died. They're all good. So that'll be it. I think the only thing that really matters with these is if it's a massacre, isn't it?
That's to completely wipes them. But obviously, if they lose 3 games, they're out as well. And then we'll faction in another.
So far, no one's lost.
No one's lost, so they're all good.
Well, for anyone who watched last week's battle report, this is definitely a lot better for me than my poor Dark Elves have gone. So I need to work on my Druki list to try and get up to I should have taken Tomb Kings on the main army. Maybe I'd have done a bit better. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. This has been Scott and John from the Mercenary Miniature Painter YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. And as I said, if you haven't already, go back and check out the previous episodes in the campaign series.
It's all in the file on the playlist, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all numbered as well, so it should be easy to keep track. But yeah, thank you. See you next week.